Chosen one, Satan has had enough of you. The Lord of Darkness is tired of hearing your name. With your power, your light, and your unshakable will, you spoil his plans and rise like a shining star from the shadows. He tried to stop you. He put obstacles in front of you. He wanted to cloud your mind with his whispers. But you stood up each time stronger and stronger. Now he is afraid of your might, of your awakening, of your unshakable spirit. Because he knows that you are here, strong and determined. And as long as you exist, his rule will be shaken. His chains will be unchained. The true light will illuminate the whole world. Now stand up. Feel the fire in your soul. Because you are in the middle of the war and you are doomed to win. Start winning now by writing 77 in the comments. The ones who navigate life untouched by turbulence possess an unshakable core, an internal clarity that shields them from the turmoil others try to impose. When chaos comes knocking, it finds no entry. Its noise is lost on those who refuse to play the game. No matter how desperately some seek to entangle you in their disorder, their efforts are wasted. You've mastered the art of existing beyond their reach, a presence so composed that it unsettles those who rely on confusion to hold power. There's no need for conflict when the mere act of rising above it speaks volumes. It's this detachment that unsettles them the most. Your awareness is not something learned. It is something remembered, an echo of an understanding that predates this moment. When clarity strikes, it's not a gradual unfolding, but an eruption, sudden, undeniable, irreversible. A recognition dawns within you, illuminating the cracks in the illusion that others still cling to. You don't beg for acceptance or lower yourself to fit into the smallness of their perception. Your presence alone reveals the gaps in their understanding, and rather than seeking to learn, they bristle at the discomfort of exposure. To those watching from the shadows, you are an enigma, an entity beyond their grasp. Your movements are deliberate, untouched by the weight of expectations. There's an energy around you, a ripple in the unseen that disrupts the stale order of things. Those who build their influence on deception recognize you immediately. They understand that you are the variable that refuses to conform, the unforeseen force that dismantles what was never meant to last. Your very existence is a disturbance in their carefully controlled reality, an unmovable presence that cannot be swayed. The grand design of existence never unfolds without purpose, and you are no exception. You are not merely present, you are positioned. Not by accident, not by chance, but by necessity. The fabric of reality adjusts in your favor, shifting to accommodate the force that you embody. This is what unsettles those who seek control. They cannot dictate your trajectory, cannot confine your essence to their fragile constructs. It is not about the power you wield, it is about the undeniable truth of your being. They do not fear what you might do. They fear what you already are. If your presence alone has ever shattered illusions, if your very being has ever disrupted the expectations placed upon you, then stand firm. Those who live in limitation will always attempt to diminish what they do not understand. It is not your task to make yourself digestible to those unwilling to expand their perception. Let them distort, let them misconstrue, let them exhaust themselves trying to define you in ways that serve their comfort. Their resistance is nothing more than proof of the depth they are too afraid to explore. If you feel the abundance of divine love in your heart, now is the time to share it. You can help spread God's blessings by clicking the Super Thank You button on YouTube and contributing $20 or more. This divine gift will touch not only your life, but the souls of many through this platform. Each of you has a sacred place in God's grand design, and your generosity will be the fruit of our prayers. Act now. Share your blessings to glorify His kingdom, for you were created to do even greater things in God's loving hands. May God bless you. There is no need to explain, justify, or seek validation. Those who oppose you are merely echoes of their own dissatisfaction, shadows grappling with the brilliance they cannot match. Their envy churns within them, desperate for an outlet, but it finds no hold on you. Let them be consumed by their own discontent while you move with unwavering intent. You do not lower yourself to their level, nor do you allow their smallness to dictate your course. What they misunderstand is irrelevant. What you embody is undeniable. They lash out, grasping at illusions of control, but their efforts crumble beneath the weight of reality. Their foundations are built on shifting sands, while yours is forged in something unshakable. They fear what they cannot predict, resent what they cannot influence. You need not retaliate, for their downfall is written in their own hesitation. They label you reckless, disruptive, untamed. But these words hold no power. You do not conform to the constraints of their perception. You obliterate them. Every decision, every move is a testament to a force that cannot be subdued. You are not an echo of the past, but the architect of the new. Their games, their illusions, their feeble attempts to confine you within their constructs are nothing but noise fading into irrelevance. They will remember your presence not for what you demanded, but for what you transformed. The air shifts around you, charged with a power that does not ask for recognition, it commands it. Stillness and power, calm and intensity within you. These forces coexist in perfect harmony. A storm without chaos, a fire without destruction. They feel it before they understand it, and that is what unsettles them most. The way your existence disrupts their narratives without effort, how you dismantle falsehoods simply by standing in your truth. You do not battle with their insecurities, you reflect them, untouched by the turmoil they create. Where others stumble blindly through the haze of their own illusions, you cut through the unseen with precision, walking paths they cannot even perceive. The struggle they wage is one they can never win, for they fight against their own limitations while you move beyond them entirely. This is not about fleeting victories or surface-level triumphs. This is about the mastery of reality itself. You are not entangled in the distractions they so desperately cling to. Their blindness is their weakness, their lack of depth, their undoing. You see beyond the veil, beyond the illusions they mistake for truth. While they remain confined by the limits of their perception, you shape the unseen into something tangible, carving your own path with absolute certainty. Their resistance is futile because they battle ghosts while you command forces they fail to comprehend. True conquest is not measured in what can be seen, but in the unseen forces aligned with your intent. You are not bound by their illusions, their judgments, or their fears. You ascend beyond them, stepping into the realm where power is not given. It is taken, shaped, and wielded with purpose. They will never grasp the source of your strength because they do not even recognize the battlefield. And yet, without knowing it, they have already lost. Power is not a symbol, not an ornament to flaunt. It is an essence carried with purpose. The distinction between strength and arrogance is clear, though lost on many. You do not seek control over others. You shape the world around you through presence alone. While others hunger for recognition, you move with the quiet certainty of one who has no need for approval. They mistake your restraint for uncertainty, your confidence for defiance, but their misinterpretations change nothing. The weight of your path is not a burden, it is a calling. They cannot grasp this, cannot fathom a force that moves without ego, without the need for validation. Their bitterness stems from their inability to perceive anything beyond their own narrow desires. But you understand the connections that bind all things, the ripples set in motion by every action, every choice. Power is not for display, it is for transformation. They will attempt to drag you into their realm of limitation, but they will never succeed. You do not shrink to fit their world. You expand to build your own. Greatness is not found in dominance, but in the ability to lift others beyond what they believed possible. The weight of existence bends in favor of those who refuse to be contained by ordinary constraints. Those who doubt will whisper, plot, resist, but it is all in vain. You have nothing to prove, for your very being is proof enough. They will never comprehend, but it does not matter. The path is yours, the outcome already decided. Let them watch, let them question, while you rise beyond reach, beyond limitation, beyond the very fabric of what they thought possible. Exclusive alliances, building empires together. This isn't about temporary gains, it's about awakening the sleeping giant within, the kind of power that makes the ground shake when you walk. Our private Discord is the sacred ground where real kings forge alliances that shift the tides of fortune. Here, dynasties are born, empires aligned, and brothers in arms share the kind of knowledge that never sees the light of public forums. When the order assembles, mountains move. The weak watch from the shadows while the strong claim their throne. Your seat at the table of titans awaits. The link is in the description below. Dear brothers and sisters, may God's peace be upon you today. I am here to remind you of a profound truth. Our existence is grounded in God's divine plan, unshaken by the temporal concerns of the world. As the Bible says, whatever is done in faith will return to God in abundant blessing. Luke 6:38. Like that great oak tree, our roots are deeply rooted in God's universal truth. Every step we take, every stand we take, is secured by His strength. And now, you are being offered the opportunity to be part of that blessing. When you use the super thank you button and donate $100, this movement will return to you 100-fold in abundance. The ability to command unseen forces isn't something learned, it's something lived. It moves through you like instinct, allowing you to shift the energy in any space with nothing more than intention. While others react to the turbulence around them, you harness it, shaping disorder into balance, redirecting opposition into momentum. They exist in a world of static interference, lost in the noise they cannot control, while you glide through it like a force unbound. This mastery is not about dominance. It's about knowing how to bend reality to your will without effort, without struggle, without a word. Preserving energy is not avoidance, it is strategy. Where others exhaust themselves in pointless confrontations, you remain untouchable, stepping only where the ground is worth standing on. Their emotions swing wildly, throwing them into chaos of their own making, but none of it reaches you. Their volatility is their downfall, while your restraint is your greatest power. They do not understand that true strength is in choosing when to act and when to let futility burn itself out. They try to provoke, to disrupt, to siphon what they cannot create, but they are met with silence, a wall they cannot breach, a presence that does not bend. Your presence is an anomaly, something they cannot place, yet cannot ignore. The air shifts around you, carrying a clarity that unsettles those who live in confusion. They operate in uncertainty, relying on distractions and deception, while you remain steady, unshaken. They sense the difference, but cannot name it, cannot replicate it, cannot break it. What you carry cannot be imitated because it is not a skill. It is a force woven into your existence. It does not ask for recognition. It simply is. And that is what makes it unstoppable. There are forces that watch, that seek to disrupt, that thrive in disorder, but they recognize something in you that cannot be undone. You are not an accident. You are an inevitability. They attempt to contain what they do not understand, to dismantle what they cannot control. Their resistance is proof of your impact. They would not push so hard if they did not fear what you represent. They see you and they know. The old structures are failing. The balance is shifting. But their efforts are wasted. Their opposition is nothing more than a confirmation that they have already lost. They work in whispers, in manipulation, in shadows. But you are not their target. You are their consequence. Every obstacle they place before you only sharpens your precision. Every attempt to silence you only amplifies your presence. They mistake introspection for fragility, underestimating the power of someone who does not fear themselves. They use the same tactics, the same illusions, never realizing that you have already mapped out their moves before they make them. They do not realize that their own games are the reason for their downfall. You do not fight them. You outlast them. What they fail to grasp is that power is not confined to titles or external validation. It exists in the unseen, in the ability to shift the course of reality itself. Your understanding is not limited by the constructs they cling to. You see what they cannot, move where they cannot follow. They chase status, mistaking accumulation for wisdom. But you exist outside their rigid framework. They believe they hold knowledge, yet they are blind to the very forces that dictate their existence. While they struggle within the walls they built for themselves, you dismantle barriers they don't even recognize. They measure intelligence through limited means, failing to understand that true awareness is fluid, expansive, untethered. While they seek answers within the narrow constraints of their understanding, you have already moved beyond the question. They call you unpredictable because they cannot categorize you. They call you an anomaly because you defy their logic. What they do not realize is that while they are still trying to figure you out, you have already stepped into the next realm, leaving them behind, trapped by the very systems they thought would define you. The path you walk does not require validation. It is not a pursuit of acceptance, but an unfolding of something far greater. Where others drown in the expectations of the collective, you find freedom in standing apart. They misinterpret your independence as detachment, your certainty as arrogance, but their opinions are echoes in an empty room. Their world is shaped by the need for approval, while yours is built on something untouchable. They cannot comprehend what it means to move without seeking permission, to rise without asking for acknowledgement. That is what unsettles them most. They expect you to conform, to seek comfort in their structures, but their expectations hold no weight. Their confusion is not your burden to resolve. You do not need their acceptance, their understanding, or their approval. You exist beyond their reach, beyond their perception, beyond their influence. And that is why you will always be the one they cannot predict, the one they cannot contain, the one they cannot break. Their inability to comprehend your strength is not your concern. It is their limitation. There is no struggle, no force, only the seamless command of existence itself. Reality does not resist, it bends, shifting in response to the quiet certainty that emanates from within. While others exert themselves trying to impose their will on the world, pushing and grasping at illusions of control, you move differently. There is no need for noise, no demand for recognition. The unseen forces align in your favor because you exist in absolute harmony with the currents of creation. They watch, bewildered, unable to understand how outcomes fall effortlessly into place around you. Their confusion is not your concern. It is merely proof of the depth they cannot comprehend. They mistake power for aggression, influence for spectacle, but you know the truth. The most formidable force is neither loud nor visible. It is the quiet precision that reshapes everything without resistance. Where disorder reigns, transformation follows in your wake. Not through conflict, not through defiance, but through a presence so refined it leaves no space for chaos to take root. They will not see it happen, they will only feel the shift, the unspoken recalibration of everything they once believed to be fixed. You are not here to battle for position or to convince anyone of your strength. That is a game for those still tethered to the need for validation. You are beyond such trivialities. Every movement, every thought is a point of creation, rewriting the structures that once bound those who could not see beyond the surface. The old ways fracture, not by force, but because they cannot withstand the weight of what you bring into existence. While they scramble for certainty in an unstable world, you operate with unshakable clarity. The constructs they cling to were never real to begin with, yet they fight to preserve them, blind to the inevitability of their collapse. You do not push against these crumbling foundations. You simply exist beyond them. And in doing so, you reveal what they have always feared. The true mastery is not found in conquest, but in the effortless unfolding of what is meant to be. Their resistance is irrelevant. Their inability to grasp what you embody is not a limitation placed upon you. It is the cage they have built for themselves. They will never know the freedom of moving beyond the need to be understood, the power of influencing without seeking to control. There is no need to announce the shift. You are the shift. The landscape alters in response to your very presence, the structure of existence reorganizing itself to match your unwavering certainty. They will search for explanations, looking for something tangible to grasp, but there is nothing for them to hold on to. The change has already taken place, moving like an undercurrent beyond their awareness. You are not playing the game they thought they understood. You are redefining it entirely, and by the time they realize it, they are already standing in a world they never saw coming. Now is the time to share God's blessings by clicking the super thank you button on YouTube. You can contribute to His plan and be a part of this divine mission with a donation of $100 or more. Every gift reflects God's generosity, and I believe it will return to you exponentially far beyond your expectations. Remember, His protection and blessing is on your every step and every donation. You become part of His divine plan. You are a strong, radiant being, unshakable as His mighty rock. Witness God's miracles, feel the fruits of your generosity in your soul, and illuminate the world with confidence and courage. Be blessed and let the light of the Lord guide your path. Like a mountain standing tall against the shifting winds, unshaken by the storms that come and go, you exist beyond the fleeting opinions of those who do not understand your purpose. You were not placed here to seek permission, nor to dim your brilliance for the comfort of those who fear the light. Your worth is not up for debate. It is carved into the very fabric of your being, undeniable, immovable. While the world around you fixates on validation, on external praise and temporary crowns, you walk a different path, a path of certainty, a path of unshakable knowing. They chase approval like a mirage in the desert, hoping that if enough hands applaud them, they will finally feel whole. But you drink from a well that never runs dry. You do not need their acceptance because you were chosen before they even had a voice to speak against you. They want to measure you, to define you, to squeeze you into a shape that makes sense in their small reality, but they do not understand that you were never made to fit. You are not confined by their flimsy standards of success, their shallow metrics of worth. They grade themselves on temporary scales, but you measure yourself against the eternal. Their opinions shift like sand beneath their feet, but you stand rooted in something unbreakable. They whisper, they judge, they question, but none of it reaches you. It only reveals the limits of their own thinking. You are not bound by their insecurities, their fragile egos, their need to categorize and control. You move freely, untouched by the chains they have willingly wrapped around themselves. The truth is, they cannot stand what they cannot label. And you are beyond definition. You are an anomaly, an exception to every rule they have ever known. They resent the way you move without hesitation, the way you refuse to seek their approval, the way your presence alone forces them to confront the limitations of their own existence. Their bitterness is not about you. It is about what you remind them of, the opportunities they were too afraid to take, the dreams they buried beneath fear, the freedom they forfeited for the illusion of security. You are a mirror they cannot escape, a reflection of what they could be if they only had the courage to step outside their self-imposed prison. And instead of facing that truth, they choose to cast stones. But stones do not harm the ocean. Their resistance is nothing more than ripples against the surface of something far greater than their understanding. They will try to shrink you, to fit you into a box, to name you so that they can control you. But you are not here to fit. You are here to expand, to break barriers, to stretch the limits of what is possible. They will call it arrogance, but what they do not realize is that it is freedom. You are not looking for a seat at their table. You are building your own. You are not waiting for permission. You are walking in your purpose. They want you to argue, to fight, to prove yourself worthy of their recognition. But the ultimate power move is not to convince them. It is to render their opinions irrelevant. What they think of you is none of your business. Their doubt is not your weight to carry. Their disbelief does not alter your destiny. You are beyond their reach, soaring in a sky they have not yet learned how to navigate. They call you reckless because they do not understand what it means to be guided. They call you dangerous because they do not understand what it means to be free. But none of that matters. What matters is that you keep moving, that you keep stepping into the fullness of who you are, that you keep walking with the certainty of someone who knows that they were not sent here by accident, but by design. Your existence is not about proving them wrong. It is about proving yourself right. It is about embracing what has already been written. It is about claiming your space, taking up room, refusing to shrink. They will never understand your strength because they cannot see beyond their own limitations. But that is not your concern. Your concern is to keep building, keep creating, keep stepping forward. Because while they sit and talk, you are already miles ahead. While they debate and criticize, you are already shaping the future. While they hold on to their chains, you are already free. And that is why, no matter how hard they try, they will never be able to keep up.